Welcome to our journey of meeting our new PCI compliance standards. In the following presentation, we will be discussing some updates and changes with our security systems and why we are doing them. Let's start with why these new security measures are important. The pin pads that we use in our stores are generally very safe and secure pieces of technology. However, some criminals have found ways to steal credit card information from our guests while they are using these types of pin pads. These devices are called skimmers, and they can be discreetly placed on top of existing pin pads without obvious signs of modification. The devices can be quickly installed and easily missed without close inspection. Here are some pictures of skimming devices found on pin pads similar to those that we use. Here are two video clips of a skimming device being installed on pin pads similar to the ones that we use at Festival Foods. The criminals were able to install the devices right in front of the cashier. Let's watch again. Luckily, a device like this has never been found in a Festival Foods. However, we need to stay on alert to make sure this does not happen to us. Festival Foods has recently reached a certain threshold of transactions per year that puts us at the level that requires us to perform more robust security practices. These new rules that we have to follow are part of the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS for short. These rules are not enforced by the government, but rather the major credit card companies. Non-compliance could result in huge fines or the inability for us to accept certain credit cards at our stores. The new programs will help secure our pin pads and make it much more difficult for any criminal to target our company. The program was designed to be simple yet effective and work with our current processes in place. The Guest Services Department will be a key partner in making this program a success. The two main duties will be pin pad security and vendor check-in. Each store has two binders that are to be kept at the service desk. The first binder is the vendor check-in and inspection binder. This binder will include special name tags for verified vendors, vendor check-in forms, daily and monthly audit forms, and a UV flashlight. More on these materials later. The second binder is the maintenance binder. This will include materials that help get a new pin pad ready for security inspections, like black light paint and security screws. Let's start by discussing the daily audit standard. The daily audit log has space on the left side for the designated associate, usually the store's bookkeeper, to sign the form indicating they've completed the daily check. In the middle of the form is a list of all the pin pads in the store. The right side of the page has the instructions on how to do a daily check. The designated associate will use the UV flashlight to inspect each pin pad. Asset Protection has already painted each of the pin pads with a unique pattern using invisible paint that glows under UV light. The designated associate will make sure this paint is still visible on the outer rim of the pin pad, forming a square, and in between the keys of the keypad and on the slot where the cards are inserted, forming a U shape. Remember, square, U, for the correct pattern. Once the auditor confirms paint is still in these three areas, they may move on to the next pin pad. Each pin pad should only take a few seconds to inspect. Once all the pin pads have been inspected, the designated associate will simply write their name and initials on the log sheet in the corresponding day of the month. The monthly audit will typically be conducted by the guest services manager or assistant manager and should be completed no later than the 5th of each month. Instructions for the monthly checks are located on the right side of the monthly check form. At the bottom of the page is where the guest services manager will sign when the inspection is complete. To do the monthly inspection, the guest services manager will make sure that all the days of the previous month were inspected by the designated associate doing the daily audits. They will also inspect every pin pad for the correct serial number. Asset Protection has printed a label with the serial numbers on the side of each pin pad for quicker inspection. The guest services manager will also inspect each pin pad for a special security screw that requires a unique screwdriver to remove the pin pad from its stand. Any variances in the serial numbers should be documented on the monthly audit form. In the event that one of the pin pads shows signs of tampering, the designated associate will take a series of steps to ensure that the affected pin pad will have no further use until properly investigated. The designated associate will shut the lane down and place a sign over the register screen indicating the terminal should not be used. Be careful not to place any tape on the actual screen, just the monitor housing. These signs are located in the vendor check-in and inspection binder. The designated associate will then immediately submit an IT service desk online ticket indicating the pin pad was tampered with. The affected register will be out of commission until further notice. Instructions on what to do in case of an inspection finding possible tampering is located in the lower right corner of the daily and monthly inspection forms. Besides the pin pad audits, the other major task that guest services will assist us with is the vendor check-in process. It is possible that a criminal may disguise themselves as a legitimate vendor and attempt to gain access to our pin pads by being dishonest about a work order that was placed. In order to eliminate that possibility, a new vendor check-in process has been created. If a pin pad is experiencing issues, a leader from the guest services department must create a ticket using the IT service desk online. Each service request will receive a Festival IT Ticket ID number that will be recorded in the vendor check-in and inspection binder. This number must be recorded in the binder immediately after receiving it to ensure it's present when the vendor shows up. Once a vendor arrives on site to perform the work, they must verify the ticket number they have as the same one in our binder. Then they will be issued a red vendor badge that they must wear during the pin pad work and must be visible at all times. Each name badge has a unique serial number and should be recorded with the vendor's other information upon check-in. When the vendor checks out, record the time and collect the name badge. We are required to keep records of all of our logs for at least 12 months. Therefore, all the daily and monthly audit forms, as well as the vendor check-in logs, should be kept for a full year before being thrown away. These logs should be filed away in the bookkeeping office for safekeeping. Thank you for helping us win with PCI compliance.